Hello, everyone. I'm Marigold, and welcome to the AI Writers Connection on YouTube. Today's segment, diving into the realm of romance in the digital age. We're about to uncover how technology has redefined romance through a sampling of story templates from my new book, which includes over 100 different scenarios. There's bound to be something in there for every writer for nearly any romantic occasion. Now, are you ready to unravel the digital romance mystery? Let's dive in. As you can see, I am inside of Sudowrite's dashboard, and I'm going to go ahead and click in to my project titled Romance in the Digital Age. From here, you'll be able to see the template, which is titled Angels and Demons. This is one of the templates that's inside of my book, which you will find in the comments section of the YouTube video. So one of the things that I found that often people ask, how can I get the AI to provide a synopsis for romance? It was always that meet cute section, the title, a series name, a location, or a genre that's very specific to what they're looking to write. So one of the things I wanted to do was touch upon how these templates can really help jumpstart the creative juices and help a writer move forward with planning their concept. Now, there is specific information rolled into these templates, but it doesn't mean that you can't play around with them or extract information, add additional content, or completely change the content itself. I'm going to take the first prompt, Angels and Demons. I have instructions here. This specific one is asking you to type or paste the prompt into an LLM field such as ChatGPT 3.5 or 4. You could even plug it into Jasper, Claude, or even Sudowrite or Sudowrite Story Engine, or any other LLM that you may like using, whether it's Novel AI or any other. Once you get your prompt inside the areas you're going to input, read through it, make sure there's nothing else you want to change, then hit enter. This section that I just read to you for the instructions to type or paste your template, you're going to feed to the LLM. One thing you want to remember, you want to ensure that you are telling the AI that you want it to write out the story concept synopsis and to please generate it in a non-JSON format. The reason for the non-JSON format is because I notice that sometimes when I input this template style inside of Claude, it would try to spit the story out in JSON. So that's one of the reasons why I have non-JSON in this prompt. Let's go ahead and copy this. I'm copying it from Write Out the Following Story Concept. I'm going to take it all the way down to the bottom of my prompt, which you can see it's pretty long. I'm going to copy this and let's go ahead and take it into chat. Let's hope chat's working. While we are waiting for chat to come up, let's go ahead and play with Claude. You never can tell what's going to happen with these AIs. Sometimes they are up and running, and sometimes they just take their sweet time. So again, the same prompt that I copied, write out the following story concept synopsis. Please generate. I have the information here. I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter on this one and let it start processing the content. And while I'm waiting for that one to go ahead and process, I'm going to click over here and go ahead and ask for ChatGPT, and it seems to be busy right now. While we're waiting for chat to respond, let's take a look at what Claude is giving us. So Claude is giving us all the information that I asked for. As soon as it finishes feeding the information, we'll go ahead and take a look at that content. Now, I am pasting the same exact information into GPT-4, which you can see up at the top. I'm in the default setting, and I'm going to hit enter there as well. Let's give it just a couple of minutes to finish filling out. And while it is doing that, I'm going to go ahead and stretch Claude out just a little bit so that we can see more of that content. I'm going to take it up just a little bit so that we can see where it starts. Here is a non-JSON story concept synopsis based on the provided outline. It, of course, gave me a title. It gave me the series name, which was Heavens Aflame. The genre is Angels and Demon Romance. Because this is for a serialized platform, it will state Season 1, but that does not mean that you cannot adapt it to an ebook for a standard novella or novel. The template will give you a hook, which is the skies of the mortal realm darken as Azrael, an angel tasked with collecting souls, cross paths with, a demon who tempts those souls into damnation. One of the things that I like about this template is that you can either have an angel and a demon fighting against each other and have a male and a female love interest and a protagonist, or you can dictate that you want a human female, or maybe you want a human male to be the protagonist. Maybe you want the demon and the angel to be at odds with each other, or maybe you even want a triangle. Maybe the demon and the angel are both battling for the soul, and the demon is trying to tempt the individual into the darker side. Here it does state that in the world building that there's a cosmic war. Since the dawn of time, angels and demons have been locked in a cosmic war for dominance. So again, it gives you a little bit of information here. It gives you the tone and the mood of the concept itself, which is danger and passion permeate every encounter between Azrael and the other individual. Now, one of the things that I want to mention is that if there are any characters in here that you are not 100% okay with, you can always ask to have that information changed. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit further because I want to look at the first plot point. In the first plot point, there's going to be a temporary truce in the cosmic war, which requires angels and demons to work together, which throws the angel and the demon into close proximity. Now, in that character arc, it shows that the two of them are reluctantly collaborating, and their journey takes them from distrust and disdain toward a forbidden love. Now, I could write that, but what if I wanted to write something different? Let me show you how you can prompt Chat or even Claude to give you something different. I'm going to continue to scroll through here to show you that we do have an ensemble cast, so there will be other characters. Now, I do have a couple of other prompts that you can use to request some of the side characters, but I can show that to you here shortly. Going on, we're going to look at the strengths and the weaknesses. When we look at the angels, they wield divine power and resilience, while the demons harbor dark magic. So again, we want to look at what those weaknesses and strengths are. There's a little bit alluded here, but we're really going to need to flesh that out a little bit more. Again, this is just a working early synopsis that can help to jumpstart an idea and give you some information that might spark a different path for your story. Now, this is going to give you some very basic backstories, some midpoints, some pitch points. It'll even give you a third pitch point. We have a conflict resolution. We have a climax. It does give you quite a bit of information here. It gives you symbolism and motifs. It gives you subplots, foreshadowing, reoccurring elements. It gives you an audience engagement. It also gives you tropes. But some of the common tropes would be forbidden love, redemption, sinking, falling angel, corrupt demon, redeemed by love. I do like some of this content, but I really don't want my love story to be between the angel and the demon. I would like to involve a human. One of the things that I'm going to ask is for Claude, create something different. I want the protagonist to be a human female that never believed in angels and demons. And I want to make the angel and demon the antagonist and love interest. And I would like for there to be a triangle where they are both battling for her mortal soul. Let's see what changes Claude will make. Now, I'm also going to copy this because I'm going to do the same thing inside of ChatGPT 4. While this is processing, let's take a look at what Chat gave us. Scrolling down, let's take a look. Drawn to one another. Now, again, it's the same story which is fine if that was a story I wanted to write, but maybe I want to write something different. I'm going to use the same content that I used in Claude. While that is generating, we're going to continue to look at this information. One of the things that I found interesting is that the format is the same between Claude and Chat. Sometimes I feel like ChatGPT may give me more details, but Claude can get really creative. So depending on what you're looking for, you may find that you like one over the other. I don't mind the content that Claude gives me or ChatGPT 4 gives me. I do find that I prompt each of them a little bit different whenever I'm fleshing out a whole synopsis into, say, chapter outline summaries, into chapter story beats. I do prompt them a little bit different. Not that much, but a little bit, because I have to prod and poke Claude a little bit and bring him back on task, because Claude likes to go off on his own. ChatGPT will become very detailed oriented, and sometimes I need to prompt Chat to give me a little bit more on the character and the character strengths and weaknesses, because ChatGPT kind of likes to build the whole world. I'm a huge world builder and I love to build worlds, but we also need to think about our characters as well. Under the world building, it talks about how the universe has long been a battleground for angels and demons in a cosmic war. Same thing was mentioned in the other. We do have main characters listed, which we are going to change those. And let's see, we also have their strengths or weaknesses, backstories, midpoint, pitch points, third point. We have a climax, we have closing images. So we have a lot of the same information. We have our tropes, we have our themes, we have additional seasons. I created these templates for serialized bodies, but that doesn't mean that you cannot adapt these and use them for a book series. Or rather than continuing additional seasons, you could just stop after this first book. It's completely up to you. Now, if you only do one book, then you need to make sure that your book has either a happy ever after ending or a happy for now ending. Let's take a look at the changes. The title is Between Heavens and Shadows. The series name is Soul's Celestial Dance, and again, it's under Angels and Demons. Now with the change, I see that the AI has introduced Evelyn, a young woman grounded in reality, has always considered tales of angels and demons mere myth, meant to influence human behavior or to explain the unexplainable. However, her skepticism is put to the test when she becomes the nexus of a cosmic tug-of-war. I like that. I'm 100% on board with that. The setting is the modern city. It becomes the backdrop of this drama. It's an everyday life contrasts sharply with a sudden breathtaking glimpse into the ethereal heavens and the fiery depths of hell. Let's take a look at Evelyn, who is our rational thinker, always relying on logic and dismisses supernatural occurrences. That's who she is. Her life, while ordinary, is satisfying to her, but beneath her exterior lies a soul that resonates with both the heavens and the underworld. Because she's a non-believer, both sides want her. I think that's interesting. So they both want to be able to take charge of her soul. So we do have a first plot point. On the eve of her 21st birthday, Eve experiences vivid dreams where she is embraced by heavenly lights and drawn into an enticing shadow as well. She awakens to find an angel and a demon, both claiming the right to her soul. Okay, that could be a little scary, but that'd be cool. So let's take a look at the character arcs. So we have an angel, Raphael, who promises Evelyn protection and enlightenment. He is convinced that her soul is the key to tipping the balance in favor of the heavens. On the other hand, Lucian, the demon, offers Evelyn uninhibited freedom and indulgence in life's many pleasures. So she has them both kind of grappling for her attention, for her soul. Now, initially, she's in denial and she grapples with these revelations. Torn between two worlds, she begins to question her beliefs, her purpose, and the very nature of love and temptation. And I'm pretty sure she's probably maybe wondering if she's going insane at some point, especially since she's a non-believer. So as you can see, it gave me the starting point of a story. Now, I could come here and I could ask it to flesh my story out further. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to ask it to write an extended synopsis for this concept, for a first and last name. I'm going to copy this because I'm going to use that same prompt in just a moment over inside of Claude. So while this is processing, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. So I asked for the same information and it went ahead and gave me Nora Haff. She is a detective whose worldview is rocked when she meets an angel tasked with protecting important mortals. And so I assume she must be an important mortal. And then Damon, the demon, is seeking to corrupt human souls. She has never believed in the supernatural, and she thinks that angels and demons are erratic role players. So she thinks that maybe she thinks they're both nuts. I don't know. She's a detective, so she may be wondering what's going on with both of them, unless they show some form of magical ability. Now, with the events that occur around her, she realizes that heaven and hellish forces are vying for her soul. So at some point, she begins to believe that there's something amiss. Now, the detective is brought into heaven's grace, while Damon, the demon, tempts her with fame and fortune. So again, they're going to pull out all the cards to try and see what they can do to convince her to go one way or the other. But when Nora's investigation into a serial killer leads her to uncover a diabolical plot by Lilith, a vengeance demon, to open the gates of hell, the stakes are raised. Now, do you see what I mean by Claude can throw some really crazy stuff in there sometimes, but in this instance, I like it. I like that that Nora is investigating a serial killer, and that basically sends her to Lilith, who is a vengeance demon in this storyline, and Lilith wants to open the gates of hell. It takes the story to a whole other level, and it gives me something to think about, something that I could flesh out into a much larger body. So again, this is one of the very first templates inside of the book. So if y'all were to go and find it on Amazon, y'all could actually open it up and look at the first 8 templates and play around with them. Find out what you like and what you don't like. Again, these are only story starters. They help jumpstart the process, and then it allows you to take the reins and push the story forward. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have inside of Chat. So Chat has gone ahead and renamed it Soul's Tug of War. Okay, a little cheesy. And let's see, it kept Evelyn. She is living in the heart of the city. She's dismissed the tales of angels and demons. So we already read that. In this scenario, Evelyn is a journalist and she is trying to debunk myths. And so she's looking to debunk anything to do with, say, heaven and hell. So that gives her a really good in on this. Now, it also states that shortly after a mysterious encounter in an old city library, she is visited by vivid dreams on her 25th birthday. So there's something to do with her birthday, so that's interesting. She wakes up in a cold sweat. She's confronted by Raphael and Lucien, both who lay claim to her soul that we read earlier. So again, we do have this information in here. Now, you could add to this content, or you could completely start over. Now, if you add to this content, you can keep adding details before you ever flesh it out into a chapter by chapter outline. Once you get your synopsis set the way that you want it, one of the things that I would recommend, and I will share these prompts with you, I highly recommend that once you get it to where you want it, that you go ahead and try out, say, step 2, which will evaluate the synopsis that you create to look for any weak or vague or problem areas. to strengthen your concept. Now, once you do that, then you would move on to step 3. Granted, if everything works out in step 2 and you are good with that revised synopsis, then you would go to step 3. And step 3 would be to write that major character list for your concept, ensuring that the characters have first and last names, especially like Evelyn in ChatGPT 4 or Nora inside of Claude. You want to make sure that you have a solid picture of who your characters are. That way you can direct the AI on how to write them. Some of you may be familiar with these prompts. I just tend to recycle and maybe change them up a little bit, but the process works really well for me. And again, take these prompts, rewrite them, make changes where you need to, make the prompts work for you. Now, once you have created your major character list, as well as your 10 minor characters with popular archetypes, then you can move on to the next step. Now, you might be asking, why do I need 10 additional characters? You may not use them all, but it's good to have them for the AI so that you can dictate exactly who your characters are. And if the AI spits out something during this process about a character that you don't like, you can always change that. But by having your minor characters already set up, it sets the stage for either Chat GPT 4 or 3.5, or say Novel AI or Jasper or Claude, or even Story Engine from Sudowrite, any of the LLMs that you use. It helps to set up the process so that the AI can pull from characters that are in your list. That way, maybe you don't get a whole bunch of extra characters that you don't want to be coming in and out. I know in the early days of AI, when I first started back, I'd say late December, I was generating December and January, and I don't know how many times a first officer came into one of my science fiction romance. Every time a new stride or new chapter came around, my main character had a new lieutenant or had a new second in command or had a new... So again, I found that having my minor character list helped to remedy some of that, especially if it was characters that would show up repeatedly. So for instance, the character who is the journalist, Evelyn, that individual, you might want to make sure that one of those side characters is maybe her boss or her editor, or it is somebody that she goes to frequently. The detective, maybe it's the police chief, or maybe she has a detective who is a partner. Maybe she has other contacts within the city that she talks to regularly. Maybe forensics or some other individual within law enforcement. Make sure that any of your side characters are people that could flow easily in and out of her scenes, and that will ensure that the AI knows how to use them. So let's go down and look at our next prompt. So step number 4, once you get your characters all ironed out, then you go to step 4, which would be to write out a detailed backstory for each of the main characters. Now, I have demoed these in multiple videos, so as long as you follow the steps, it should take you through each one. Just make sure that you're fleshing them out to a scenario that you like. One of the things that I do want to mention is that if you are writing contemporary, make sure that you are very clear on this step, on step 4, because I do like to leave in myth, lore, and legends. Now, you could change that if you have a contemporary story, or if you do have a contemporary story, then you would state that it was contemporary or historical. Give it the genre so that it knows, because the worst thing that could happen when you're trying to create something is all of a sudden in the backstory for a contemporary Western, maybe all of a sudden the horse turns into Pegasus or something. You definitely don't want that to happen in a normal contemporary. Now, if it was a fantasy, sure, why not? It might go with the story. But if it's contemporary, you need to make sure that you're keeping the AI on track. Now, for step 5, this is where you could indicate how many story beats you want, 12 or under. So this is a great one to take a look at also. And it does list the Snyder beat sheet. If you don't like the Snyder beat sheet and you use something else, change that. Change it out. If you want, use Lester Dent. If you use a completely different one, put it in there. Ask Chat or Claude if they know who that individual is or that template. And as long as Claude and Chat understand, then they can merge those together. Those are just the ones that I tend to like to use, which is Blake Snyder. I will use Lester Dent. I also like to use Amy Gold. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of information in here. And maybe before I end this video, I will at least go through them quickly. Again, as I said, I have already gone through these before. So it's not something that's brand new. It's something that we have gone through before. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our next, which is age gap. I'm going to go ahead and copy it. We're still going to go and look at Claude for the angel and demon one more time, but I'm going to copy this information just so that I have it for whenever we go in to process the age gap. So let's go ahead and go into Claude and take a look at what Claude gave us. So the synopsis that it gave us is more fleshed out. It gives us a better view or picture of exactly what's going on in the story. And again, it's showing that Nora is a detective. She is caught between the demon and the angel, who are both fighting for her soul. Again, she uncovers that diabolical plot. I want to go down toward the bottom to see what happens here. Now, this is a climatic battle between heaven and hell. Lilith is involved. She wants to open up the gates of hell. Now, this would be a great one if you wanted to continue the series and maybe make it a trilogy. You could definitely have other books or installments that could spin off from this. That's one of the things that I wanted to point out before we move on to the next template. So I am going to go ahead and grab a brand new one because I don't like to put my concepts in the same window or thread because sometimes that can confuse the AI and we could end up with an age gap romance that all of a sudden gets blended with angels and demons, which, I mean, I guess it could be interesting, but it's not the story I'm looking for right now. So let's go ahead and paste that one in. And I'm going to go ahead and send that off to start generating. And let's go ahead and go into GPT and do the same thing. And I am going to create a brand new one here as well. We are in 4. And let me go ahead and paste the age gap one in as well. So it is stating that it is a contemporary romance story concept with an age difference theme. It lets us know that a youthful artist, Nina, distinguished Professor Edward Mead at an elite fundraiser. So it is giving me a true synopsis. One of the things that I am going to ask Claude, and this is something that y'all need to be really on the lookout for. Claude did not follow my instructions, so I'm going to prompt him to follow my instructions. So I'm going to ask him, did you follow my instructions? I don't think you did. Please try again, and let's see what he will do next. Again, Claude can be very unpredictable. He can give some really interesting content. And of course, it says, yeah, you're right. My previous response was not the requested one. So now he is spitting that out, but it looks like he's still not following the template. So let's take a look at what ChatGPT 4 gave me. And Chat is definitely following the template. And let's scroll up to the top now that it's finished. And here we do have our title, Echoes of Time. We have a series name, Age of Love. We have the genre, which is contemporary romance. Again, it gives us a hook. In a world where age is more than just a number, a magnetic allure pulls two souls from different life stages, challenging the boundaries of the social norm. So you hear about that quite a bit, whether it is an older man with a younger female or an older female with a younger male. Now, you can have any combination here, whether it is a male-female relationship, male-male, or female-female. Decide what story you're wanting at this stage so that you can redirect your AI. Again, it lets us know what the social expectations are, the tone and the mood, the main character intro. It's letting us know some very basic information here, and you can add additional content in here. Now, what if I want to make him a judge? He's a judge and she's a court. Let's make her a court reporter. Let's make that is clumsy and always in the way. But maybe it's more of an endearing way. So the judge finds her refreshing and let's see. And she brings him out of his shell. Let's make him a widower. And we can make him a widower set in his ways. So do you see how with just a little bit of information, I did not know what kind of story I wanted. But after reading through this, I got an idea that I thought that it was interesting to see what direction it was going to go. Now, they do have differing views on children and life priorities. So it would be interesting if he had kids. So let's give him kids. He has 2 kids. Let's see, one in middle school and one is a freshman. So let's see where this takes us. Let's see where this takes us. While this is being processed, let's take a look at what Claude gave us. So again, Claude really didn't follow the directions, but it still gave us a story, but it did not follow the direction like it did before. So it makes me wonder if there's maybe something going on with Claude. But let's go ahead and paste this information in. Let's add the same content and see what it does for us. Now, both of them are incorporating the content for me. And as you can see, it is giving me everything from information about the judge and his courtroom and enter Nina, the court's new bubbly court reporter. Her constant flustered energy clashes with Edward's buttoned up world, yet her lively spirit soon provides a refreshing, even an alluring change for him. Behind the scenes, there's an attraction brewing between them. So again, it does give me some information that I can work with. But I do find that I do prefer working with GPT-4 with these prompts. Now I could actually take these prompts into Sudowrite and they work well there as well. For the change, we do see that the hook is here. We have a stern judge and a clumsy court reporter. They have an unexpected connection. This is a busy city courtroom. The judge holds a significant position. The court reporter is invisible because she hasn't really moved up in the professional world. So again, it gives us a starting point to be able to move the story forward. It gives us goals for both characters, even the kids who desire to see their father happy, but they're also trying to adjust to something different. We do see the strengths and the weaknesses of all the characters. We have a backstory. He lost his wife a few years ago, so everybody's still healing from that. The kids are skeptical. They like her, and her genuine nature begins to break the ice. We have a pitch point, a third pitch point. We have the conflict resolution. We have a climax. We have the closing image. We do have symbolism motifs. Those are really important. Those are things that can be woven into the story. And that's something that the AI can keep an eye on for you as well. Again, we have multiple items here. We have our tropes, we have our themes, and if you wanted to continue the story, it has information for you to be able to continue. Now, I'm going to run through some of these rather quick, just so that I can show you the variation. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the next prompt, and I'm going to go into a brand new chat. This time we can try 3.5 and see what 3.5 gives us. So while that is running, I'm going to go over here to Claude, and I'm going to come over here to Claude, and I am going to start a brand new one. I'm going to refresh my page and see if maybe I can get him to behave a little bit better. Now, this next one is actually an Amish romance. So let's see what that will give. Again, I'm going to paste that in there, and let's go back over here and see what GPT-4 gave us, or 3.5, excuse me. So 3.5 gave us a title. It gave us the series name. It let me know that it is romance. It is Amish romance. It's letting me know that in the bustling city, Sarah, a young Amish woman, unexpectedly finds herself drawn to a charming Amish heritage. She's drawn to the serene charm of her Amish heritage and the simple life that it represents. Meanwhile, David, a successful business consultant, visits the Amish community for research and begins to question the emptiness of his modern existence. As the story unfolds in this beautiful Amish community nestled in the countryside with lush farmlands, rustic barns, horse-drawn buggies, and quaint homes that exude warmth and simplicity, he's just drawn in deeper into it. The Amish way of life revolves around core simplicity, strong community bonds, unwavering faith, and prioritizing family values. So again, it's with ChatGPT pulling content. It is looking at some of those views that would need to be pulled for Amish romance. Now, I also have templates for Christian romance. So again, if you are a Christian writer or you write Amish romance, there's definitely a template in there for you. Now, for the strength and weakness, Sarah's deep faith and dedication are balanced by her uncertainty about her feelings. So it seems that her feelings for David are growing, but his confidence masks his growing doubts about the materialistic lifestyle that he had been living. So both of them are having some doubts, some internal doubts, which could really make for some good conflict emotionally. So again, we have our conflict resolution, we have our climax, our closing image, we do have symbolism. So again, these are our story starters to help launch you into a story. Let's see what Claude has come up with. So Claude actually did better this time. Gave us a young marketing professional from Chicago visits. Actually, it's the female who visits the Amish community and finds herself drawn to their peaceful, faith-filled ways of life. And when she meets Jacob, an Amish farmer, they are intrigued by each other's worlds. So that's nice. So Chat gave us a man from the outside world and an Amish female, whereas Claude gave us the female from the city and an Amish male. So that's pretty cool. Now, in the world building, the Amish culture, the Amish live simple. They avoid modern technologies. They value community and dedication. So same thing that ChatGPT 3.5 was telling us, that is what Claude is hitting upon as well. So again, Kate is questioning the pace of her city life, while Jacob grapples with his new feelings for an outsider. And for the Amish community, having an outsider come in, that's a huge thing for that small, close-knit community. We have our strengths, our weaknesses, we have our goals and motivations. Oh, look, there's a farming accident that shakes the community, and it tests the faith and resolve of the community. Let's see. Kate's defiance of Amish views frustrates Jacob, and he's disappointed. And he disappoints Kate by putting his faith first. Jacob thanks Kate with a heartfelt gift, a quilt sewn by community women, guiding her to find purpose. So I like the fact that the quilt represents a community bond that has the community coming together. I like the candles in the windows that symbolize hope. I like the sunrises over the farmland. So these are all really nice touches. So again, these are story starters that can help push you forward into creating additional stories. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next template. We have Amnesia Romance. Now I'm not going to go through all of these, but we do have Amnesia. How about an anti-hero? Let's see what an anti-hero will do. So let's go ahead and grab from Write Out the Following Story Concept, come all the way down to the bottom. And I am going to go back into Chat, and let's use 3.5 again. We'll use 4 again here shortly, but let's see what 3.5 will give us on that. And let's go back into Claude, and let's go into a new chat. That way we can clear his thought before we go into a new story. So this time, Claude is paying attention. We have the title, Dance with Darkness, Shades of Grey. Definitely not going to be using that one. I guess you could, but I wouldn't want to use that as a series name. So the anti-hero romance. In the dark underbelly of Center City, a notorious thief called Raven crosses path a mysterious stranger new to town. Though weary at first, they soon find themselves drawn together despite opposing loyalties. Okay, so that's interesting. Now, the setting is grim, grimy streets where criminals rule the underworld and danger lurks around every corner. There are seedy nightclubs, back alley crime. There's a network of underground power players that set the backdrop. This feels like it's going to be a really gritty type movie, gritty, edgy, dark. So I like that. But then again, I like to write a little bit dark whenever I'm writing, especially dark mafia. Now, under the world building, underworld dynamics, the city is run by competing factions like the Snake Eye Mob and the Iron Gauntlet Gangsters. You can definitely change any of this. There are corruptives who turn a blind eye to the turf wars. This could so become a mafia storyline. And that all started with an anti-hero. Now, our main character, he's a man with a vendetta. He's shrouded in mystery and complexity. She steals to survive, but has her own moral code among thieves. So that's interesting. Now, there is a heist that throws them together, forcing an alliance. So this could be really nice and action-packed. Now, there's a brutal attack by a rival gang that forces them to have to trust one another to survive. Now, there is some distrust that resurfaces when hidden agendas are revealed. Their moral codes clash in the face of harsh choices, but shared enemies keep them reunited. So even though they may be clashing, they're still tossed together because of their common enemy. I like that. Oh, and then here you go. We have confronting the sins of their past to bring clarity. That could be something that you see reoccur over and over again here. Symbols and motifs: blood-stained feathers, a tarnished locket, a raven's wing severed in battle, and a powerful symbol. Those are powerful symbols that amplify the themes. Now, we do have subplots foreshadowing reoccurring elements like shared memories of stolen nights, defending each other, acts of unexpected kindness that anchor their bond. Now, the tropes are redemption through love, forbidden passion, enemies to lover, love versus duty, and twisted trope to amplify the story. So let's take a look and see what 3.5 gave us. So again, it gave us a title, a series name, it gave us the genre. So here it talks about how in the heat of a city shrouded in darkness, two souls converge. One, a mysterious anti-hero with a shadowy past and ambiguous morals, the other a beacon of light in pursuit of justice. Despite their differences, they find themselves drawn to each other and their fates entwined in a dance of allure and complexity. Now, the backdrop for this one is an urban labyrinth rife with crime, corruption, and hidden undercurrents. There are neon lights illuminating the rain-soaked streets, casting an eerie glow on the secrets lurking in every shadow. When I looked at Claude really provided a nice, grimy, gritty city. When I look at what Chat provided still can be that edgy tone to it, but it's also really vibrant, giving me maybe a Nevada or Las Vegas feel to it. So here in the underworld, in this dark setting, there are factions that are fighting for power. You have ruthless crime syndicates. You have power plays. You have organizations that are trying to take over. You probably have a cabal in this one. These forces will test the boundaries of love and loyalty as a protagonist and the love interest navigate the treacherous terrain of the city's underbelly. The tone is a captivating blend of dark allure, forbidden passion, and the tension of blurred morality. So, in this world, right and wrong are not always clear cut, and love exists in the most unexpected places. So, again, some of this is vague, and you would need to drill down into it, but it's giving you information to be able to jumpstart that thought of what direction you would like to take your story. Again, you have your pitch points, your third point, your conflict resolution, the climax. You have a symbolism, the subplots. So again, it gives you quite a bit of information to help jumpstart what direction you might want to take your story. So one of the other things that I wanted to take a look at, I don't know if we have any Jane Austen fans, but it's a field that I generally avoid. Don't really go into historicals or, say, Highland romance. Every now and then I might write one, but for the most part, I shy away from historicals. But listening to Elizabeth Ann West, I know that she writes a lot of Jane Austen fan fiction, and it has such a huge culture surrounding it, and people really get into this culture. Just they bite into it and they don't let go. And that I can definitely respect as a reader, because there are certain genres that I just love to read, especially when it comes to some of Dean Koontz books or even Anne Rice books. The worlds that they build just keep me going back for more information. So same thing with Jane Austen and individuals who really enjoy that genre. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and let's just see what that gives us. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new window. Let's go to 4. This time we were in 3.5 the last 2 times. And I'm going to hit for it to go ahead and start. Let's go into a new window here on Claude, and we'll see where that takes us as well. Again, this is a genre that I am not well versed in. So let's see. ChatGPT has lost its formatting. It is not following the format again, but it is keeping, let's see, when the dashing Edmond arrives in this quiet village, let's see, he becomes a subject of much curiosity and gossip. Okay, it's already beginning to sound that way, that Pride and Prejudice kind of tone. Now, what I don't like is that Claude did not follow the outline. Oh, all I'm telling him is you didn't follow the outline, please follow the template. So let's go back and take a look and see. ChatGPT 4 is still writing. It is coming to a closing. So it's letting me know that the tropes, hidden past, love against society, ballroom confessions. Okay, and then there's courtships, there's love versus convention, the power of literature. So let's take a look at what it gave us. So we do have a title, Elegance and Endeavors. A lot of alliteration there. Regency, Chronicles of Unexpected Love. So it does let us know that Rinworth is nestled in the heart of the English countryside, punctuated by grand mansions, modest cottages, and the lively bustle of town markets. Let's see. We want to get to a world where every nod is a statement and every whisper echoes in grand ballrooms. Okay, so it's setting up the world, the society, tells us about the society, the waltz, the status of the individual players. Now we do have a meet cute at a village. Let's see. Lord Nathaniel is taken back by Miss Evelyn, a spirited and scholarly lady, deeply engrossed in Jane Austen's novels. Their discussion begins with, let's see, pose and hint at a deeper curiosity. Now, let's see. The first plot point, when a heirloom goes missing during a gathering, both are unjustly accused. So they have to navigate the scandal. So I'm going to ask a question here. I'm going to ask if she'd be reading that book. But yeah, so even though I'm not well versed in that genre, definitely I did not think that she would be reading that book. She might be reading another class, maybe War and Peace. I don't know. I'd have to look at the dates of what books were available around that time. Okay, so Claude went ahead and gave me my content. Some of my content gave me the title, but not the series title. We do have a hook. We do have information on the world, the tone. We do have a meet cute at a village dance, the brooding. Okay, so he's brooding. He encounters the spirited Miss Elizabeth Bennet, a bright local woman. Okay, and look at whose work. Again, that's interesting that both Claude and ChatGPT did the same thing. Let's ask the same question. So this is one of the things, if you are going to write a historical, it does require a lot of research. And because this is not a genre that I would be comfortable writing without AI assistance, I would not venture that direction unless I had a lot of time to research. But I might venture someday into writing it with the assistance of AI because I have a whole resource at my fingertips. But even though the AI can provide you with information, it doesn't mean that as a writer, you should trust that content 100% all the time. Even though it may sound like really interesting or cool information that it's providing you, there could be information that doesn't bode well and you may have to ask additional questions. So here the meet cute. She's spirited, scholarly. She is engrossed in a classical literature. I don't know what. I could definitely ask Chat again. But again, it gives you a stepping point that you can begin to work with and go back and forth with either Chat or with Claude to be able to build a story. One of the things that I do want to take a look at, we do have Christian, we have Civil War romance, cozy mystery. I hear a lot of people talk about cozy mystery or crime and detective, so I'm going to do two more. I will do cozy mystery. So let's take a look at cozy mystery, and I'm going to highlight that. And let's go ahead and plug that into we'll go ahead and do GPT-4 again, and we'll see what it gives us. And let's go ahead and try that with Claude as well. And right now, I feel like both of them are maybe being a little bit sparse with the information that they're giving. So I'm not sure if there's something going on with AI right now. Currently, it is 4:55 a.m. here where I am at. So I don't know if they had any updates overnight. But this time, as you can see, we have a nice little chunk right here. Oh. So when the owner of a beloved bake shop turns up dead just before the annual pie festival, wow, the pie baker, Josie, finds herself at the center of a murder investigation. So yeah, that sounds very much like something that would happen in a cozy mystery. I do not write cozy mysteries, but my writing partner does. Let's see. We have a hook. The body of the owner, Millie, is discovered, apparently bludgeoned by one of her prize rolling pins. Ooh, ouch. This is a coastal town known for its pie festival. There's an underlying current of sinister secrets going around. Let's see what the meet cute is. Josie bumps into Nathaniel at the crime scene, hitting him in the face with a pie she baked for the festival. Okay, I'm not sure how that happened, but it happened. Mortified, she tries to clean off the mess and, sparking amusement for that first encounter. She sounds a little bit clumsy, which might work really well for that. Again, we have our goals, we have our strengths. Oh, pitch point. She's nearly run off the road, accusing a powerful town figure. Her bakery is vandalized. Oh, she lures the killer into confessing. She finally gets to serve her pies. So again, it gives you a lot of areas that you can focus on and begin to flesh out a story. Let's see what Chat gave us. A vintage recipe book is discovered in the basement of an old bistro, but when every dish prepared from it seems to predict a misfortune, the town wonders if there's more to this book than meets. Ooh. So is this just a normal cozy mystery, or is there something paranormal going on? Now, it does only say cozy mystery, and it is a culinary mystery, so maybe it's still contemporary without paranormal. But now I'm beginning to wonder if the book has some curse in it or if somebody is doing something odd. Let's see. It is a picturesque town known for its Tudor-style homes, cobble streets, so it's painting a really pretty picture. They boast for their booming bistro, a local eatery known for its whimsical dishes. So there is a blend of suspense and lighthearted moments. Let's see, the meet cute. Ellie bumps into Chef Jordan while she is trying to return the recipe book to the bistro, leading to a partnership in the investigation. So I'm still a little bit unclear. So if I were to ask questions, I would be asking Chat to expand on how she found it, where she found it, why she's bringing it in. Those are some of the questions that I would begin to flesh out and go back and forth with the AI on so that I could figure out what direction I want to go. And remember, the AI is your resource. So if there are things that you want to throw into your story, throw details in there and just use the AI to help you organize your thoughts. So as you can see, it gave you multiple items here. Let's see, she takes an analytical approach and let's see, she's driven by her inner curiosity. Now, I like some of the information that's here, but I liked the creativity that Claude gave me. Now, a townsfolk falsely accuses Ellie of concocting the misfortunes. So she is falsely accused. That is one of the pitch points. Now she does discover an old diary. So in addition to the recipe book, she finds an old diary. Oh, so she discovers an old diary hinting at the original owner of the recipe book, a rumored witch. Okay, so is she a real witch, or does this become paranormal, or is this contemporary and more like she was accused similar to how people were accused falsely during the Salem witch trials? I don't know. The story could become anything at this point. There is a hidden letter that's revealed. We also know that there's some paranoia there. We have a fair going on. We know that Ellie and Jordan share a dance at the fair, while the pages of the book flutter, hinting at more mysteries to come. Okay, so it sounds like there's something magical going on. I would need to ask more questions. I kind of like the feel of it having some type of a magical feel to it. I don't know if any of y'all have ever watched Charm about the three witch sisters. I get that kind of a vibe. While it's not like a Bewitched or like a cartoon type witch story, I could definitely get on board with some type of hidden witchcraft that you have supers living among normal humans. So that could be cool. Okay, quaint town with secrets is one of the tropes. Unlikely detective duo, forbidden book. Historical flashbacks. We have a nosy neighbor. That's pretty common in this type of book. We have a reluctant hero. We have themes that could be shown throughout, 15 different ones. Tradition versus change. That could be a huge one within cozies. You have unity, curiosity, redemption, trust, community, legacy, memory, and it does list additional seasons. Say you wanted it to be a 6-book deal, you could definitely find different things, especially if the individual was a witch and it uncovers either a coven or some other mystery at the end of this solved mystery. It could catapult her into the next mystery. So let's go ahead and take a look at the crime. I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Now I'm going to take the crime template, and it is the crime detective template, and I'm going to plug that in. I am in ChatGPT 4 and I'm hitting the submit. I'm going to go into Claude, bring up a new thread, and I'm going to plug in the same information for that crime/detective here, and let's take a look and compare the two. So as you can see, if you don't specify whether it is straight up contemporary or something that might have paranormal sci-fi elements to it, the AI will take those liberties. So if you do not want something that is going to have either contemporary feel to it or something that may have paranormal elements to it, you need to make sure that you're specifying that. Otherwise, the AI doesn't know if you don't tell it. So let's take a look at what we see in the detective one. So we have a dimly lit world of city jazz bars. A citrus vanishes, leaving behind only a scarlet rose and a note. Okay, so that sounds very, I almost want to say rather than contemporary, that could be maybe something that could be historical. The sprawling metropolis of Caden City, where vintage jazz bars. Okay, so it is a vintage jazz bar, so it is contemporary. story, and it is set against a towering skyscraper. The nights are filled with sultry music and meetings, and the days pulse with the gritty reality of street and police chases. So that could be interesting to write about. Now, a criminal underworld controlled by the Crimson Cartel. So there's a cartel, so you do have some of that organized crime element. You have a syndicate there, and the syndicate is infamous for leaving a single scarlet rose at crime scenes. So why would they take the starlet? So it built the world, so we have an idea of what the world looks like, the underbelly of it, how there are crime lords. We have detectives trying to work their beat. The tone is a mesmerizing blend of suspenseful shows, and it also has that anxious rhythm of heartbeats, stolen glances. The meet-cute Detective Alex Hart, while undercover at a jazz bar, stumbles upon Lana, a captivating singer. Their eyes meet, and her soulful notes prompt him to want to know more about her, and there's an undeniable attraction between them. Now, as Alex is diving deeper, he discovers that the missing singer was entangled with the cartel, complicating his budding relationship with Lana, who may know more than she's letting on. Now, is that because she's scared, or is it because she's involved somehow? Now, he is torn between his duty and love. He becomes more distrustful, but learns to lean on his intuition. Now, Lana is hiding a past. She finds the courage to confront her fears and trust again. So again, the templates give you just enough information to springboard you into thinking about what direction you want to take your body of work. Oh, there's a vendetta here. So let's see, the third plot point. A secret rendezvous or meeting reveals the cartel leader as someone from Alex's past. And there's a personal vendetta. Okay, I could definitely see this working and being able to take this to a completely different direction, but moving some of these items forward. Let's see, there's a symbol of intertwined hands against a backdrop of a gun's silhouette. Let's see, the gun and rose, haunting notes of jazz. Oh, there's a secondary detective duo to unravel the case. They find ties to the cartel. Okay, now they could either be working with Alex or against Alex. Both of those two things could work, but depending on the direction you would want to take the story, one would work better over the other. And again, we have our pacing. It gives us some information, gives us more information on this one when it comes to the storytelling enhancements. Now, I have noticed that both Claude and Chat are not giving me everything that they should be, which makes me wonder, let's go into Story Engine for Sudowrite. As you can see, I have nothing in my brain dump, nothing in genre, nothing in style, nothing in synopsis or my character list. But what I am going to do, I'm curious to see what the same prompt would do here. And I do run them in here. I like to write some monster romances or my mafia romances, and sometimes I will put them in the rewrite outline, my outline or my templates. I will activate it by saying, I don't know, genre, outline, hello. It'll work with anything that you put in here, and then just hit rewrite. And let's see what the outline will give us. This is one of the things that I really like Story Engine. Now, keep in mind that using the outline feature here to do this, it will eat up your words. Now, if you are writing, say, erotica or any type of steamy romance, or if you are writing psychological thrillers that may have gore, or maybe you're even writing a battle scene, or maybe you have a character like John Wick or something, again, you could potentially bring your outline or your story elements here into Sudowrite Story Engine, and you could use the rewrite outline function to get it to write you something. Now, one of the things that I really like to do here, because it does give me information on my protagonists and their goals, as you can see, it gives me all the information. It looks like it's giving me more of the information that is inside of the template than what ChatGPT 4 or 3.5 were giving me, even more than what Claude was giving me. Now, we do still have our meet cute. We have our world building. We do have the tone, the mood. We have that first plot point. So we do have all of these key areas that are showing up. We have our strengths, our weaknesses, our goals, our motivations listed. We also have backstories, very brief backstories. We have midpoints, pitch points. We have a third pitch point. Again, we have the climax, the closing image. It's giving us the symbolism, the motifs. It's giving us the subplots. I do like the way that the outline gives me the synopsis information better than what I typically find in the synopsis. And maybe that's because in the synopsis, it stops at, 700 or 800 words? Let's go take a look. So it only gives me 800 words over here in my synopsis. And often it does not, it's very rare for it to hit the 800 words. Now, I could put my template down here in the rewrite, but often it will not finish my template. So that's why I like to put them over here. As you can see, I'm already at almost 800 and it is still going. Let's take a look at how far it is going. It has given me additional seasons. It is giving me storytelling enhancements. It's giving me the information about the pacing, the cliffhangers, the character depth. It's giving me expanded tropes and themes. It's giving me the series arc. It's also giving me the detailed episodes. So again, it gave me all this information. Now, one of the things that I want to do is show you that if I go back and look at my prompts, I'm going to skip some of these steps. Now, definitely, if I were in Chat or in Claude, I would be doing my evaluation. I could be doing my character list. Now, nothing says that I can't grab my outline that I have in there and chunk it into the brain dump and then have it generate a synopsis that way for me. But I find that if I am inside of Story Engine, I can actually come all the way over here to step 5 if I wanted to, and I could run content there. If I stayed in Claude or ChatGPT 4, then I would go ahead and say my angels and demons, because I really like that one. I would go ahead and start with step 2 and work my way through all of these steps. But that would be after I got my outline the way that I wanted it, that early concept, then I would go ahead and move on to step 2. Now that I'm in ChatGPT, now that I am inside of Sudowrite Story Engine, I want to show you how you can actually go in and play with step 5. Now, in this step, you could indicate how many story beats you want. It doesn't have to be 5. It doesn't have to be 3. You could potentially ask for 10 or 12 beats if you wanted to. Now, what I have found is that I don't go beyond 12 in there if I haven't already fleshed out, say, summaries for the chapter outline. If I haven't fleshed out the summary beats, then I typically do not go beyond the 10 or 12 beats. Now, if I were to say maybe I wanted 16 to 20 beats per chapter, then I would do step 5, and then I would follow step 5 by step 6 to be able to write either 14 or 16 or 20 numbered beats. But I would do that in a 2-step process. But if I'm going to keep my beats at either 10 or say 12, I can go ahead and use this step. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab this, and I'm going to take it all the way down to the bottom, and I am going to copy that. And let's go back into Story Engine. Now again, I am going to come down here, and I'm just going to go straight into the rewrite again, right down here, and I'm going to paste that in. Now, one of the things that I do have to do under the context, it says that we have a character list. I really don't have a character list, but I could come up here and I could take a look. I know we have Jane, and let's see. We have Jane is the detective. So I'm going to take these two and I'm going to come over here to my character list. It's just going to be very bare boned. Let me come over here and I'm going to write crime. We're going to make it gritty, edgy, just to start with. So Detective Jane, let's Let's see. I don't want to say that she's in a tangled web of secrets, because if I do that, then every chapter is going to have that. So you have to be very careful about that. Now, I can say that Grant is Matic, and I'm going to remove the rest of this. And before I get rid of my outline, what I'm going to do is copy that with the little copy function here. And because it is 800 and over 800 words, I'm going to go and plug that into my brain dump just so that I don't have to go back in the history later on to find it. I know that it's right here. And I can scroll over. I already have my prompt down at the bottom, and I'm not going to hit the generate up at the top. I'm going to go ahead and hit the revise again. But before I do that, I need to tell the system how many beats. And I think I want to do 10. So I'm going to say that this is, I want 10 beats, but maybe I want 15 chapters. So this is a 15 chapter. And I say name the genre. I'm just going to say that this is a crime/detective. Now, I am saying to create a chapter-by-chapter outline that follows a Blake Snyder beat sheet. Now, one of the things that I am going to do is I'm going to tell it how many beats that I want right here. So each section must contain, so my 15-chapter outline, I could make that 25, I could make it 30. But when I come down here, all chapter summaries must alternate POV as instructed, because I want it to be alternating between the male and the female character. Each section must contain 5. Instead of 5, I'm going to say 10 beats in number form. Now, I do want every summary to begin with a hook and end with a cliffhanger. Now, again, you can read through this. You can look at everything that I have requested inside of my body of work. I'm just going to go ahead and hit rewrite, and let's see what it gives us. Now, the little section that you saw down at the bottom that had at the very bottom of my prompt, that is what gave me this information right here. And I like that. I like to know the day and the time. I know that it's Monday. I know it's 7 a.m. I know the characters who are in the scene. I know the setting, the location. There's a crime scene. So the scenes in this first chapter should be a crime scene, downtown apartment. I know that the characters should sound skeptical, focused, intrigued. The story tone should be suspenseful and mysterious. There should be some tension there. Now, take a look at these beats. Jane arrives at the crime scene and surveys the scene with her partner, and it gives me who her partner is. Now, I don't feel the need to add that content over into my character list. I definitely could. Anytime I have a character that shows up, I could add that, but one of the things that I find when I do this, a lot of my characters are wrapped into the scene, so I know exactly who is in there. So let's take a look at chapter 2. Again, I know that it's Monday at 1 p.m. I know who the characters are. I know that there's an unarmed crime boss. There's not a name. Now, I could give him a name. So again, if you don't give a character a name, that could end up causing an issue later on, unless, of course, the character's name is unknown. Again, this time the story tone is dark, romantic, and dangerous. So that differs from what the tone was in the first chapter. So if you take a look at that, look, my tone was suspenseful, mysterious, intense, but here it is dark, romantic, dangerous. Now, I'd probably take romantic out and maybe use romanticism if that was in fact what was happening. But I'd have to read through all these to make sure. Now, anytime somebody reflects on their past involvement with the crime underworld and his secret connection to the victim, that's where if it is not known to the AI, then the AI could hallucinate or write something completely off the wall. So make sure that if your character is reflecting on some past event or involvement, that you are specifying what that involvement was. Maybe he was a getaway driver, and maybe as a result of him driving, maybe he was at the wrong place or didn't pick somebody up on time, and maybe the person who is missing, the victim, Maybe the victim saw something that she shouldn't have seen, and maybe he feels that it's his fault. So again, here, it's tense, investigative, emotional. That's the story tone. The character is frustrated, confused, determined. But you see how it gives me my beats here, and it gives me all of my characters. This is one of the things that I like to do whenever I'm working here inside of Story Engine. And generally what I will do whenever I get all of my beats, if it doesn't give me all 15 here, then I will come down here and ask it to continue. I'll just say, please continue with X, and I'll give it a little bit of information on where it was at on that chapter and ask it to continue following the same format. So we're already on chapter 5. If you look at our word count, we're already at a little under 900 words. And we are only a third of the way in. Now, one of the things that I notice when there's a glitch in the system, or if OpenAI is down, I'll notice that instead of giving me 10, all of a sudden it'll be like 10 beats in chapter 1, 10 in chapter 2, and then all of a sudden it'll glitch and give me 5 or 6, and then I have to reprompt. But again, this does eat your words. So if you are writing something that maybe has a really violent scene, this may be the avenue that you can take to assist you. Now for this, what I would do, it's still saying that it's generating. Okay, just stopped. So it looks like the request timed out. So what I would do, I would remove this content, or I could keep it there if I wanted to, but I am going to remove it for now because I'm going to state, please continue by finishing chapter 5, where you left off on beat 7, and continue to follow the same format until you reach chapter 15. Now, what you could do is take this information right here, and you could save that in another section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tell it to rewrite in just a minute. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and X out over here, and I'm going to create a new page down here at the bottom, and I'm going to paste this. Now, you see how all of that's like an ugly just wall of text? I'm going to hit, right now I'm on my PC, so I'm going to hit Control Z to erase that. And then I hit Control Shift and then V to paste it, and it kept the form. So that's a much nicer way to look at it rather than that great big wall of text. Now I could come down here and find chapter 2, and I could definitely differentiate where my chapters are so that it makes it easier for me to find them. And let's go ahead and go back in and take a look at where Story Engine left off. So I am going to call this chapter 1 through 15, and we're going to call this the Crime Detective, just so that I know which story I played with there. So now I'm going to go back, and I am going to instruct it to go ahead and finish writing. Now notice how when I went out, it got rid of what I had here. It did not get rid of anything that I had up here, but it did get rid of what I had down here. And one of the things that kind of bothers me is that Story Engine does not have a history for any of its rewrite areas. Now, you do have a history up here, but that only lists this part of the card. It does not show any of the history down here. So, and I am going to remind it, remember, there are 10 beats per chapter, don't forget. So let's go ahead and ask it to rewrite. Remember, I am telling it that it needs to start where it left off. Now, if it's behaving, it'll continue, which it did. And this, again, if you are writing really violent scenes or chapters that you cannot get ChatGPT to write, or Claude or Jasper to write, or any other AI, maybe you're a NatDev or some of the other LLMs, you can definitely do that here because you do not have the same restrictions here. So keep that in mind. When I'm writing, say, my dark mafia romances, if I have chapters that maybe have steamy scenes to them, I can definitely write my chapters this way. I can ask for my chapter outlines to be done this way. I can also write maybe action scenes where maybe there's a battle gun, a shootout, maybe there's hand-to-hand combat, if I am writing something from, say, a male character who is maybe in the military and he is on an ops mission, then I can actually write in something that might be more violent than what GPT or Claude or Jasper will allow. So we're already on chapter 6. And again, see how it's keeping up with this content. Now we have an unarmed criminal henchman. Now, if I were writing this, I would definitely want to give all these people a name. Now, I could be keeping a list of these characters and I could be building a character list. And that is something that I've done before, but I tend to, when I'm rewriting some of these, I tend to start naming all of these unnamed individuals, and I might even give a little bit of information about them inside of that little list. Now, keep in mind, before you are able to use this information in this outline or be able to have your part numbers spit out information, you would actually have to come up to the very top and right above like chapter 5 or chapter 1, you would need to type in something like section 1 dash introduction colon and then enter to go to a new line. And then that's where your chapter 1 would start. And you'd say like chapter 1 colon, and then you would put the information for your chapter there. And again, it is still going. So it'll probably get to maybe 9 because we're already at 600. But this is a really good way, again, if you are finding that you are stuck and you are trying to get one of the AIs to write content that keeps hitting that censor wall, then definitely you can come into Story Engine, as you can see here. So I'm looking at chapter 8. With the mastermind defeated, the crime syndicate headquarters begins to collapse around them. Let's see, Alex, Jane, Michael must quickly escape before they are trapped inside the crumbling layer. As they make their way through the dangerous environment, Alex is overcome with guilt for the danger he has put Jane in. He vows to make things right and protect her at all costs. Now, number 4, because he vows to make things right and protect her at all costs, you need to stipulate what it is that he vows. Otherwise, that could cause the system, the AI, to go off on a tangent in a completely different direction. Now, number 5, in a heart-stopping moment, Jane is trapped beneath falling debris and Alex risks his life to save her. That is action, so that would definitely be able to be played out. They share a tender moment among the chaos, reaffirming their love for each other. That I would actually flesh out a little bit more because that is way too vague. So how are they reaffirming their love? Is it a hug? Is it a caress of the cheek? Is it a kiss? How are they reaffirming their love? And then you go to 7 because they are continuing their escape. They're reaffirming their love in 6, but now they're continuing their escape. So that's some of the stuff that I would take a look at. Now, I don't know if Story Engine is having an issue because it just timed out, the request timed out again. And if you look at it, we have 997 words out of 1,700. Now, the most that I've seen it go up to has been right around 1,600, but it doesn't get up that high that often. But again, it stopped premature. So I would have to ask it to continue. Now, down here, it has kept what I said before, so I could go ahead and tell it right here to continue. So I could change 5 and 9, and it stopped on beat 6. And then continue until you reach chapter 15 using the same format. And I'm telling it to remember there are 10 beats per chapter. And then I'm going to tell it also ensure there's enough twists, turns, and reversals to keep the story going without being vague until chapter 15. So let's go ahead and tell it to rewrite. Now, I didn't copy the information this time, but I'll show you how you can go into the history section to grab that. And instead of starting where it left off on 9, it just started 9 all over again. So that is one thing that I'm going to mention to the Sudowrite team again, because it just reused 150 words to repeat what it had already done, rather than picking up where it had originally left off. So it's like I'm being double charged almost for those words. Again, it's only 150 words. And if you notice, it is still alternating POVs. We have Jane's POV and now Michael's. We still have the day and time. We have the characters at play. We have the location, the character voice. We know the tone. We know how the characters are going to sound. We know the story tone. Now, what am I going to do with these? I can use those inside of all the locations and all that information. I could plug that over into my genre and inside of my style because I know exactly where the locations are. So I could make my style and my genre very specific to this story, or I could leave them with just the very bare information that I have over there now, or I could delete everything over there and just wrap it into my beats. And we see that on chapter 11 that we have Rebecca's POV. Now it's interesting that it is alternating between more characters, but now because this is crime detective, it looks like I'm going to have multiple POVs. Now, if I wanted it only for 2 characters' POVs, then I would need to ask it to revise that, or I could revise that myself to show whose POV this is happening through. So chapter 10 was Michael's POV. Jane's was on chapter 9, and our characters are Alex and Jane. So again, I asked it to only alternate between protagonist and the love interest, which from what we saw earlier, that was Jane and Alex. But the system is taking liberties, and Jane is there, but it's taking liberties by having both Alex and our by having Detective Jane, who is our protagonist, and having Alex, who is the love interest, having POV chapters, but now it's also having Michael and Rebecca. So one of the things that I could do would be to find out what characters are in there together. So I could definitely take a look, and if Jane is my POV protagonist, then she would always have the odd chapters because I really like to alternate them that way, which means that 9 truly is from Jane's perspective, which means that I would need to come down here and take a look. Now, it looks like I would also need to have 10 be her perspective, and I don't see Alex in here at all. Unless Alex is in one of the scenes, then I could do that. Now, if Michael had became the love interest, then that would be easy enough to fix. So maybe my interpretation of who the love interest was, maybe it's not Alex, maybe it's Michael. Let's see. Nope. She's torn between her love for Alex and her duty. So yeah, 10 should have been Alex and 11 should be Jane. Now that would be easy enough to change from Rebecca's POV into Jane's. So that's not an issue, but this is an issue right here because the only person that can see that happening if I'm alternating would be Jane. So I could make that a Jane chapter. Now we have Jane's POV again here, but we also have Alex, and this is an even chapter, so I could make this from Alex's his POV. And all I would have to do is change that up here, and then I would just make sure that everything that is done here within the beats, my 10 beats, I would just need to alter it to make sure that it read coming from Alex's POV. Now, again, it shows Alex is 13, so I'd really have to take a look at these. Jane is in here, but she's only mentioned. See, notice how it says mentioned? And who knows, I might like the multi-POV. Now, I do the multi-POV whenever I'm doing, say, a 13 crime thriller. I will do multi-POVs there. And look, it actually finished. So let me go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to add those, and then I'm going to go back and get the section that I did not copy earlier, just so that I can show y'all how to go in and get those. Now, I will also need to make sure that I end up with beats 7 through 10 of chapter 5. And I'm going to hit the Control-Shift-V to paste that in. So here is my 9. Here's my chapter 10. Now, before I would actually run this story, I would want to make sure that I was okay with all those POV switches. And as I said, I would probably go in and change them and make sure that all the POVs were either from Jane or Alex's perspective, since that those are the two main characters. Now, you might find that you like to put your character content or all of your chapter stuff in a Word document or Scrivener or another location. I just find that if I'm already inside of Sudo, that I'll put it in here. Now, if my chapter starts with Jane, my first chapter, then I'm not going to want it in Alex's POV, so I will be looking at those. Okay, so let's go back in and grab our chapter, I believe it is 5. Yep, so let's go and look at chapter 5. So I'm going to go into the history. So let's go into the history and find, there is our 5. We might need to do that a little bit higher. So we're here. So let's see, that's 5. Let's go to the last one that changes over. So that's already 9. So it was at 5:37 a.m. and that goes all the way down to 9:06. So I'm not going to restore that. I'm just going to copy that. And then I am going to go back into my little document here. So remember, I'm going to go back up to 5 because it sent me back down to the bottom. So you want to make sure that you are actually putting your content where it belongs. Okay, it stopped on 5:7. So I'm going to take these out, or better yet, how about I just take out 5? And you would want to compare these just to make sure that nothing changed. And again, if I were doing these, I would read through all of these before I ever started generating any type of prose, because I'd have to make sure that they were tight, lean, and weren't vague, like some of those beats that I pointed out earlier. Here is 9. But I have 9 here, and I'm going to go ahead and kill 9 up at the top since I already have 9. So as you can see, my outline ended up being 3,112. Now I'm going to take my first, let's say, 5 chapters, and I'm going to plug that over. I'm actually going to take that into the outline because I want to show y'all something. I know that some people were saying that they were having a really hard time when it came to trying to figure out how to make an outline work that you bring in. Now, this is not the typical outline that you would see within the outline of Story Engine. So let me show you how I make the system work for me. I'm going to remove the content here, and I'm going to plug in my content. And all I'm going to do is right up here at the top. Well, let me try something. That's going to do the same thing. I really dislike that it puts all the extra spaces between everything. I am going to open up my cards. See how I don't have any numbers here? That's because I have to open up my card. And I'm going to do that by saying section 1-intro. And you notice how that just opened it up for me right here? If you notice under section 1, part 1, I have content showing there now. But it shows all 10 beats. So it is showing that. Now, if I come here, then I can also do card 2, and that shows up as well. And it goes on card 2, it goes all the way down to 10. And then I can also grab 3, and I can grab 4, and I can grab 5. And this is how I do mine whenever I run my chapter outlines inside of the outline section. And I do find that this works better for me than generating my beats inside of the beat cards. My beats tend to be really sparse or extremely vague whenever I'm doing them inside of the beat cards. And that's why I will not generate anything in my beat cards. I will now come over here and I'm going to grab my information from here. Now, one of the things that you have to really watch out for here is, see, that number 1 will confuse the system, because if you come and hit your check beats, guess what? It says that Jane's number 1 is a beat when it is not. So be really careful with that. Even though you have a list here, what I tend to do is I will kill that and I will just list my characters like this. I will just take the numbers out and I will list them in a line. And it doesn't care if you mush everything together. And that's basically what I tend to do. I'll even sometimes I'll move the character with the other line. Now notice how none of these except for chapter 1 is here. Every now and then I will have an issue with that. So I have gotten to where I will spell out my chapters. Now I am saying that it's Jane's POV, but I will say that it is her first person POV, and I'm going to stipulate that it is past tense. So I have the location, the crime scene, and if you take a look here, I have my strides. I have my beats set up. Again, I'm only doing this for demonstration. I would have looked at all of these beats. I would have fleshed them out further. Right now, I think they're fairly decent, but this right here, they lock eyes and share an undeniable spark of attraction. What does that look like? Definitely the AI could fill that in without an issue, but you're leaving yourself up for the AI to make that decision for you. So decide how much information you want the AI to do for you. Now I am going to scroll down and I'm going to take a look at my beats. Okay, so I don't have a listing. I do have some longer beats that I like to use whenever I am generating. So I think I'm just going to take my outline and going to go into chat and ask it something. Let's go into chat. I'm going to go to a new chat, but this time I'm going to go to the code interpreter. Now I could also do this in Claude. Did not copy those. Give me just a minute to go back in and grab. So I'm going to go into chat. Now I'm hitting Shift, Enter, Enter to give me some space up at the top. Now notice that I'm putting all of that in there. The writing template for Prose elements tells an AI how much detail percentage-wise. Now I could do this, or what? I think I'm going to go in and grab maybe one of my other templates. I'm going to show y'all how to do something. I'm going to come in Amelia's, and I'm actually going to grab one of her templates, and I'm going to show you how to ask chat to give you information. So I'm going to grab hers. Now, notice how hers has character development, world building, dialogue, conflict, action. I'm going to go ahead and take this, and I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go into chat. Now, the code interpreter should handle this, but we will see. Use this template as an example. I need you to wrap the information into this template for the story concept above. Remove all traces of the prior template. Focus on creating a template that I can use across all 15 chapters of my crime detective story. Now, it doesn't always pay attention, so I'm going to copy that in case I have to ask it again, as it doesn't always listen. Was needed, see the 15 chapter outline and the template to mimic below. Okay, did not give me what I asked for. I asked you to create a template JSON for Prose creation that states what percentage of dialogue, world, and such should be in the template. We try again. Nope. So I'm going to kill this one, and I'm going to go back and grab this, and I'm going to tell it again. This is what the template should look like, but for the crime detective story. So again, sometimes it does not pay attention to you and you just have to keep asking. So now it has given me my story elements for the crime scene and investigation. It's giving me my character development. It's giving me my world building percentage, my dialogue. Sometimes it'll give me more information wrapped in there, like what it's giving me right here in this center section. That's talking about the subtle hints and so forth, maybe the dynamics between partners. It'll show me that information. Now, it is asking for smooth transitions to maintain a constant tone, the style. So I want all of that to remain true. So let's go up and copy this, and I'm going to go back into Story Engine. I am going to go to my prompts. So let me go back into the concept that I was in, and I'm going to go into my prompts, and I'm going to add that at the very bottom just so that I have it. But now I'm going to go into my story engine. I'm going to scroll over, and you see where I have that little break where my chapter 1, the day, the characters, the setting, my character voice, and all that. I'm going to put that information right below there. So my story element template shows that my crime scene and investigation should take up 15 to 20%, my character development 20 to 25, my world building, my dialogue. And so it shows me the different percentages. Now, I could have actually, now that I have this, I could ask it to do it just for chapter 1, and then I could do it again for chapter 2, again for chapter 3, and I would give the AI ChatGPT, I would give it my chapter 1 along with this template, and then I would tell it to wrap chapter 1 into my template to ensure that it would tell the AI to write the content appropriately. Right now, I just have a standard template that I can use for writing. Now, again, I have very limited information over in my style and genre, as you saw before, but I am going to go ahead and hit most accurate here. But before I do that, let's check the beats and see what shows up. Under the header is where you need everything to be for your instruction. And then under beats should only be your beats, which I only have my 10 beats there. Everything else is in my header, as you can see. So I'm going to hide my header just because it takes up a lot of room. And I'm going to hit most accurate. So it starts with, damn it, it's colder than a dead man's stare out here, I mutter, pulling my coat tight around me as I step out of our unmarked car. The wind whips through the downtown streets like a freight train, carrying the stench of rotting trash and exhaust fumes. I like the way that the content reads whenever I wrap the story element template in with my content. So as you can see, I've got the dialogue. I have visual information showing up here, and that's all because up here, I stipulate my world building. I want to build a sense of environment. I want character development. I want a crime scene there. I want there to be a relationship. I want there to be a backstory. I am asking it to give me smoother transitions from one beat to the next. I'm asking it to maintain a consistent tone, to maintain a consistent style. And by wrapping that in there, I feel that it does better for my scenes. Now notice how I don't have a little bow tie right here. So as my stride 1 and 2 ends, it's, yep, Mike nodded. This is going to be one hell of a case. And then it goes straight to Mike. Take a look at this. I call out as my eyes. So again, take a look at what kind of content that you want. Now, I did ask it to give me smooth transitions, and it helped with making sure that I don't get as many those bows and ties. Now, do I still get them? Yes, because it's not 100% fail-proof. I will still get them from time to time, but they are much better this way. Now, again, you have the detective speaking. You see them going back and forth with banter. And again, I am not using best prose. I am actually using most accurate, but I am using my prompts, and the system is thinking. Again, in my stride 3-4, the way that it ended, it says, let's take one more sweep of the room. So again, it's extremely active. Now I wonder if it's going to stop right here before it finishes. Now that is a real shame. I really liked where that was going. Now what I could do is I could take this, even though it was 5-6, I still need 5 through 10. I could come up here and I can create another part 1. I can copy this whole content, but I could purge off these 2 because remember, I have 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 5-6 did not complete. It did not keep going. So I'm just going to use that same information, but now 5 is going to show up as 1 in my next beat check. See? And I'm just going to make the system continue to write. And because of that glitch, I wonder if it's not going to continue to write or if it's not going to follow direction. Let's find out. And there it is. The scent of blood and death weighed heavy in the air. So again, it started straight with my 5-6. So again, to me, it's more active when I'm directing the AI to write my prose the way that I want it written. Now, do I have to go in and do some editing on this? You betcha. I'm going to have to do some really heavy edits to get it to sound the way that I want and to maybe bridge some gaps that may occur. Sorry about the length of the videos, guys. I have no concept of time. So when I get into writing 5 minutes, 5 hours, it's all the same. So again, you can see that the banter is pretty solid here. And right now we're at 400, almost 500. So this stride pairing should end soon. That's not really that bad, but now I am concerned here because the stench of blood hung heavy in the air and it weighed heavy in the air up here. So let's take a look. They lock eyes and share a spark of attraction. So that's where I was saying earlier that could cause either looping or vague information to come forward. So I won't know if this is looping until I read further. So let's see who would do this. Let's see, Detective Soul is called. Sorry, Jane. He calls her by name. Do anything about her enemies? Sounds like a dangerous way to live. Let's go down. I've been told you're the one in charge. So I turn to find Michael, my partner, and let's see. So who's calling her? He said, low voice, probably, I've been told you're the one in charge. So this is a loop, and more than likely that loop is caused because it's too vague. This gave some direction, 5 and 6 did. This, number 7, does not. Now, Michael should inform her that Alex is a suspect. So the second half of that 3-4 should have that information, unless it truly is a repeat. And I think maybe the system is having an issue. Let's see. Jane is immediately drawn to Alex, but remains suspicious of his presence. They lock eyes and stare. I'm going to state that let's go ahead and move this up here. Michael informs Jane that Alex is a prime suspect in the log. And then I'm going to make number 8. Jane asks to see the evidence supporting Alex, a prime suspect. The evidence puts Alex in a window without an alibi for the crime. So then that makes her questioning him hold more weight. Let's see, he tells her that he's innocent and that she tells him to prove it. Alex is taken away in handcuffs. Jane does another sweep of the area and she discovers a cryptic clue at the crime scene, hinting at the murder is part of a large conspiracy involving Alex. So, what could that clue at the crime scene be? How about a cigar wrapper, boss logo on it, hinting that the murder is part of a larger conspiracy involving Alex's boss and possibly Alex. So, let's see if we can rerun that and we'll find out if maybe that's what's doing it. If it stalls out one more time, then I'm going to have to say that there might be something going on with the AI. So let's try that again. So here it has a cold warning air clung to the crime scene. So what time is it? It is 7 a.m., so that is fine. At least the sun is not rising, so I'm okay. There are not shards of the sun shining anywhere. I'm okay with that. So here, my name is Alex Grant. I'm a friend of the victim. Is there anything I can do to help? Whoa, hold on. Michael stepped in front of the newcomer who looked like he'd just walked off the set of a... Oh, okay. She sees him as a movie star. He had dark hair, a chiseled jaw. Now, you see this description here? I could actually move that into my character list, and that way I would know exactly what he looks like. And I wouldn't have to worry about him having dark hair here and then blonde hair in the next, and then maybe, I don't know, dark hair, curly hair, straight hair, as long as if I were to take this and put it over in the character list, then it would keep track. Okay, so the victim was a good friend of mine. That's where it ended. The rain beat against the window at the downtown apartment, casting an eerie glow. Let's see, Jane... I just talked to one of our guys. It turns out Alex was here on the list of people who had access to the apartment, so it is continuing. So again, take a look. If you see looping, it could be because your beats are too vague. It doesn't give the AI enough to be able to draw from. What did we look at earlier? We looked at the fact that the beats were too slim earlier. So on 7 and 8, they locked eyes and share an undeniable spark of attraction. Michael informs Jane that Alex is a prime suspect. 7 didn't have enough information, so it caused looping. This time, because we redid 7 and made it meatier and gave actual action instead of something vague, it continued the scene. And again, I don't have any ties here, and it flows right into the scene. Again, it's flowing again. Until then, Mr. Grant, we'll have to consider you a suspect, I told him firmly, our connection severed by the harsh reality of the case that lay before us. All right, Alex, I said, my voice steady and firm. So again, it is continuing the story. It is transitioning. So right now I have only 1, 2, 3 strides that this side will do, and then that will complete my chapter 1. So I have 1, 2, this should be my 3rd. So it should stop after this. Oh, there we go. We scan that area with renewed determination. That will definitely go on my list to kill. And you notice that even though my beats are not overtly long, I'm still getting some really good word count. Now, this one was almost 1,200 words, just a hair under 1,200. And then this one was 800. So I'm actually getting some pretty good word counts. I'm not unhappy with this word count, especially with it only having 10 beats. So again, I'm more than happy with that. We're talking, I have well over 2,500 words. So I'm happy with that. Now again, if you want to direct it and have it state the percentages, then go in and play inside a ChatGPT. You saw that I had to direct it multiple times. The AI does not always pay attention, so make sure that you continue to prompt until you get it to give you exactly what you're wanting it to give you. So if you have any questions, drop them in the video comment section. I'm happy to answer them, or you can join us on Discord where you can find Cece and I, who she goes under the name of Word Spinner, and we're happy to answer questions. There are multiple people inside of the AI Writer Connection Discord who are happy to answer questions. It's just a really tight-knit community. And if you liked the templates that you saw me use today, you can actually find that body of work on Amazon. It's a little over 100 templates, about 115 templates, along with some other prompts that I have loaded into the book in the back. And again, find us on Discord if you have any questions. You'll find a link to the book inside of the description of the video. And I hope to have the young adult content recorded soon. I was waiting for the AI to actually produce some good prose before I started out working on that one. So just keep your eye out for that next installment of that story on Amelia, the young girl whose mother died in the car accident. I will be continuing that one, and since I can see that Story Engine is actually producing some pretty good prose, I will go ahead and do maybe some more generation later today for that story. Well, there you have it. A taste of what romance in the digital age offers. Remember, with over 100 templates in the book, you're bound to find a storyline that resonates, inspires, or even challenges your creative juices. If you've enjoyed today's segment and want to stay up to date on more content like this, hit the like button, leave a comment, and don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. And of course, subscribe to the AI Writers Connection channel. If you're looking to engage with others in the writing community or writing world, the AI Writers Connection Discord is the perfect place, and the link is right in the description below. I want to thank you for tuning in, and here's to your next captivating romance story. See you soon.